All right. Hey, everyone. Get ready for today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at Postiz.
Interesting tool.
Yeah, it's a social media scheduling tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as software engineers,
Right.
we're always interested in tools
Mm-hmm.
that can help streamline our workflows,
Yeah,
especially for those of us running startups or doing solo projects.
absolutely.
So we're going to be asking the question,
Okay.
can this thing actually be a free alternative to the big players?
Right.
Like Buffer, Hype Theory, all those.
All those big names, yeah.
So we dug into their docs.
Okay.
We went through their GitHub repo,
All right.
and we're going to break it all down for you.
I love it.
What's interesting to me right away
Yeah.
is that they offer a hosted service,
Uh-huh.
but they also have a self-hosted option,
Okay.
which is totally free.
That's pretty unique.
Yeah, you don't see that every day in this space.
Not really.
So before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's just back up a little bit. What exactly does Postiz do?
So think of it like this.
Okay,
Postiz is kind of like your AI-powered social media sidekick.
I like that.
It's in the same vein as tools like Buffer,
Right.
Hype Theory, or Twitter Hunter.
Yep, familiar with those?
You can schedule posts across various platforms,
Yeah.
track how they're doing,
That's important.
and even collaborate with your team.
So team features too.
Exactly. And here's the best part.
Okay.
Both the hosted and self-hosted versions,
Yeah.
they have the same functionality.
So wait,
Yeah.
you're telling me I can get all the bells and whistles
Potentially.
without paying a monthly fee?
That's the exciting part for startups and indie devs.
It definitely is.
For folks like yourself,
Absolutely.
while they have various pricing tiers for the hosted service,
Right.
you can totally deploy the open source version of Postiz
On my own.
on your own infrastructure, totally free.
Wow. No cost at all.
Yep, and they even have docs for self-hosting on all the popular platforms.
Like what kind of platform?
AWS, Azure, GCP,
Okay.
Railway, Hetzner.
I've heard of a few of those.
Yeah, Coolify, you name it.
That's music to my ears.
Haha, I thought you'd like that.
All right, let's talk tech stack now,
Sure.
because I know that's what gets a lot of our listeners excited.
Yeah, they love the technical details.
What's Postiz built with?
Well, from a software engineer's perspective,
Yeah.
it's a pretty nice stack.
Yeah.
They've gone with a modern NX monorepo structure.
So everything's in one repo.
Exactly. All the code in one place.
Okay, makes sense.
Which, for anyone who's not familiar,
Yep.
means all the project code is in a single repository,
Okay.
helps manage dependencies,
Right.
and sharing code across different parts of the app is easier.
Smoother development, yeah.
Now, for the front end, they're using Next.js,
Oh, nice.
which is known for its performance and SEO benefits.
Yeah, that's crucial for a web app like this.
Absolutely. Got to be fast and rank well.
For sure.
And for the back end,
Okay.
you've got Nest.js.
Familiar with that.
A popular Node.js framework
Solid choice.
provides a great foundation.
So they're not using any outdated tech.
No, they're definitely keeping up with the times.
I like it.
I figured you would.
But let's go a bit deeper now.
Okay, deeper go.
For our tech-savvy audience,
Yeah.
can we talk about the architecture?
Sure.
How does this thing actually work?
So Postiz is built as a collection of 4 main services.
Okay.
We've got the front end, the back end workers, and cron.
4 main services, got it.
And get this,
What?
all 4 of these typically run within a single Docker container.
Really
Yep, communicating with each other over HTTP.
interesting.
They also interact with external services, of course.
Yeah.
Your database, a Redis queue
Go.
storage, which is a local file system by default.
Hold on.
Yeah,
4 services in one Docker container.
it sounds a bit unusual, right?
It's not what I would have expected.
Well, it's actually a clever way to simplify deployment, especially for smaller projects or initial deployments.
So it's about keeping things simple.
Exactly. Streamlines resource management.
Makes sense.
Makes it easier to get everything up and running.
Especially when you're first starting out.
Exactly. And as your needs grow,
Right.
you can always scale out by splitting services into separate containers.
So there's room to grow.
Always. Gotta think ahead.
So let's break down each of these services,
Sure.
what they actually do.
Okay. Starting with the front end.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you know what that is.
That's what the user interacts with directly.
Exactly. The web interface you see when you use Postiz.
Okay, makes sense.
It relies on the back end to handle things like scheduling,
Right.
displaying analytics, and managing users.
And the back end.
Ah,
That's where the magic happens.
You could say that.
It's the brains of the operation, right?
Yeah, you got it.
It's coordinating everything.
Exactly. Handling all the tasks.
Interacting with the database.
Could
Yeah.
be PostgreSQL or others.
Right, flexible there.
making sure everything runs without a hitch.
And that leaves us with the workers and cron.
Okay, last but not least,
What do those do?
the workers are like the workhorses,
Okay.
pulling tasks from the Redis queue and executing them,
Like,
posting that perfectly crafted message to your social media,
right.
or processing data in the background.
And cron?
Cron handles all those scheduled jobs running behind the scenes,
The example.
refreshing your social media tokens,
Okay.
keeping an eye out for trending changes,
Got it.
even syncing repository stars.
That's a neat feature.
Yeah, especially for developers.
So a lot going on under the hood.
You bet, lots of moving parts.
For those who are intrigued by self-hosting
Yeah,
and saving money,
absolutely.
what's the recommended approach?
Docker Compose is the way to go.
Okay.
It's what they recommend.
I've used it before,
It's pretty straightforward.
and they provide a docker-compose.iml file.
Yeah, takes care of most of the heavy lifting.
Any gotchas or things someone should be aware of?
Well, there are a few environment variables to configure.
Right.
Things like main URL,
Okay.
which is your Postiz installation address,
Right.
JWT secret for security,
Important.
and of course, your database connection details.
Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, all pretty common.
Anything else that might trip someone up?
Oh, there's one more environment variable I should mention.
Okay. What is it?
It's Postiz API, PS.
Interesting name.
It gives you granular control over which services run in the Docker container.
So I can pick and choose?
Exactly.
Okay.
If you're testing or developing locally,
Okay.
you could choose to run only the front-end and back-end services
Makes sense.
and keep the workers and cron jobs running on your server.
Flexible. I like that.
Yeah, it's a nice touch, for sure.
Sounds like they put a lot of thought into self-hosting,
They definitely did,
making it accessible.
even for those who aren't Docker experts.
That's great.
And the documentation is really good.
So it walks you through everything.
Step by step, very user-friendly.
Speaking of documentation,
Yeah.
earlier we talked about the hosted version.
Uh-huh.
Can we talk about the costs?
Sure.
What are the different tiers?
So they've got 4 main pricing tiers,
Okay.
starting with the standard plan at $29 per month.
Right.
That gets you 5 channels,
Okay.
and you can schedule up to 400 posts per month.
Sounds good.
Then there's the team plan,
Okay.
bumps you up to 10 channels and 400 posts,
More capacity.
plus 100 AI-generated images every month,
Oh, wow.
all for $39 per month.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
And for power users
Yeah.
who need even more.
Well, for those folks, there's the Pro plan.
'Kay.
Comes in at $49 per month,
Right.
gives you 30 channels,
Okay.
unlimited posts,
Wow.
and 300 AI-generated images per month.
A lot of content.
It is.
And the final tier,
Right. The top tier, the ultimate plan.
we get with that.
100 channels,
Unlimited.
unlimited posts,
Okay.
500 AI images per month.
Wow. So they really go all out.
They do. It's for the serious social media powerhouses.
And all that for...
$99 per month.
Okay. So there's a plan for pretty much every need
Yeah, they've got everyone covered.
and budget.
Definitely. Lots of options.
I'm assuming they offer annual billing too
You bet.
for a discount,
Always worth checking.
especially if you're planning to use Postiz long term.
Absolutely. Saves you some cash in the long run.
All right. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. It's a lot to take in.
From what Postiz does to its tech stack,
Yep. Covered all the bases.
architecture, and even the different hosting and pricing options.
It's a comprehensive deep dive.
But now things get really interesting
Oh, tell me more.
because we're going to explore how Postiz might fit into your workflow.
Okay. Getting practical now.
Whether you're a startup founder,
Right.
juggling a million things,
It's a tough job.
or a solo developer building your brand,
Building that personal brand, yeah.
we'll look at how this tool can help.
Potentially level up your social media game.
Stay tuned for that.
Don't miss it. You know, one thing that really stands out to me about Postiz,
Yeah.
especially for startups and solo developers,
Okay.
it's how they've integrated AI into the platform.
Oh, yeah. We touched on the AI-generated images.
Wow, but there's more.
More AI features. Always love that.
So they actually offer AI-powered post generation.
Oh, wow.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
You're a startup founder,
Super busy.
strapped for time,
Yeah.
coming up with engaging content.
It's a struggle.
It can be a real drain.
Yeah, for sure.
This feature can help take some of that burden off.
That's huge.
And what's even more impressive,
Okay.
they offer these AI features even in their lower price tiers.
Really?
You don't typically see that.
Yeah, that's pretty rare.
So it's a game changer for bootstrap startups.
And indie devs
Absolutely.
trying to make the most of their resources.
Exactly. Stretching those budgets.
It seems like they're really focused on making social media management
Yeah.
more efficient
And accessible.
for everyone. So let's say I'm listening to this,
Okay.
and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
all right, I'm sold.
Aha.
Postiz sounds awesome.
I'm glad to hear it.
How do I get started?
Okay, great question.
What are the next steps?
So you've got two paths you can take.
Okay.
Depending on your comfort level and resources.
Right.
You can go with the hosted route,
Okay.
which is the easiest way to get up and running,
Simplest option.
or you can self-host it.
All right, so two options.
Yep, hosted or DIY.
Let's walk through both scenarios,
Sure.
starting with the hosted route.
Okay.
What does that look like?
So it's super straightforward.
Okay.
You just head over to their website,
Which is postiz.com.
postiz.com. Got it.
And sign up for an account.
Easy enough.
And they offer a 7-day free trial.
Oh, I
So you can test it out risk-free.
kick the tires
Exactly.
before committing to a paid plan.
Once you've had a chance to explore,
Right.
you just choose the pricing tier that works for you.
And you're good to go.
Easy
Ah.
peasy. And for the more technical folks
Yeah.
who love a good DIY project,
The tinkers.
what's involved in self-hosting Postiz?
If you're comfortable with Docker,
Okay.
self-hosting is a great option.
All right.
And you don't need to be a DevOps expert.
That's good to know.
Their documentation is really thorough.
Okay.
Guides you through every step.
Nice.
From setting up your environment to configuring those environment variables.
So we talked about those earlier.
Exactly.
So it's not one of those situations where
Yeah.
you're deciphering cryptic instructions,
No.
spending hours troubleshooting.
Definitely not.
They've made it easy,
They've put a lot of effort into making it smooth.
even for those who might be new to Docker.
Absolutely. Very beginner friendly.
Good to hear.
Yeah, no need to be intimidated.
Now, we talked about pricing for the hosted service,
Right.
but what about the costs for self-hosting?
Ah, good point.
What are we looking at there?
So the beauty of self-hosting
Okay.
is that the Postiz software itself is free. Okay.
You're basically only paying for your own infrastructure,
So like,
server costs, database hosting,
right.
any other services you might need.
Makes sense. So potentially much more cost effective in the long run,
It can be, yeah.
especially if you're already managing your own infrastructure
Exactly.
and you're comfortable with that.
And for some,
Yeah.
the added benefit of having complete control over your data
Right.
and your setup,
That's a big one.
it's a major plus, for sure.
Not reliant on a third party,
Nope, you're in the driver's seat.
which can be appealing from a security standpoint.
And the flexibility is
For sure. You have all the control.
This is fascinating stuff.
It is, isn't it?
We've covered a lot.
We have.
But I want to make sure our listeners really get the key takeaways.
Yeah, good idea.
For those who are still on the fence,
Okay.
what would you say are the biggest benefits of Postiz?
Whether they go hosted or self-hosted.
Exactly.
I think what makes Postiz so compelling, especially for startups and solo developers,
Uh-huh.
is the combination of powerful features,
Okay.
flexibility, and affordability.
Those are all good things.
They are, right?
You get AI-powered tools.
To streamline your workflow.
The choice between a managed service or self-hosting
Right. The best of both worlds.
and pricing that won't break the bank.
Exactly. It's a hard package to beat.
I agree. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
You know, as we wrap up this segment,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about the potential impact Postiz could have on the social media landscape.
It's definitely an interesting development.
It is.
What's particularly exciting to me
Okay.
is how Postiz is making these tools and
Yeah.
capabilities
Yeah.
accessible to a wider audience.
That's huge.
You know, in the past,
Yeah.
this kind of sophisticated social media management
Well,
was
yeah.
often out of reach
Yeah, it was expensive.
for smaller players.
Didn't have big budgets.
Exactly. The enterprise solutions were pricey.
And for our listeners who are software engineers,
Yeah.
it goes beyond just being a user of the tool.
Right.
It's about understanding how it works at a fundamental level.
Exactly.
We've talked about the modern tech stack,
Yeah.
the open source nature.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a huge draw
Definitely.
for our technical audience.
For sure.
It's like getting a peek behind the curtain,
I like that analogy.
seeing how a real-world web application is built.
And how it operates.
It's a fantastic learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
You can dive into the code,
See how everything fits together.
even contribute to the project.
If you're feeling ambitious,
That's what makes open source so powerful.
it is that transparency and collaboration
Fostering a community.
where everyone can learn and grow.
We're going to take a short pause
Okay.
to gather our thoughts.
Sounds good.
But when we return,
Yeah.
we'll delve into some final reflections on Postiz
Looking forward to it.
and leave you with some food for thought.
Always gotta leave them.
Stay with us. Okay, we're back.
Back at it?
Ready to wrap up our deep dive into Postiz.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
We've explored a lot, the features,
The tech stack.
different hosting options.
Like saying,
But now I want to shift gears a bit.
okay,
Talk about what this all means for you,
for the listener.
our listener.
Right.
Why should you, as a software engineer, a startup founder,
Or an indie developer.
care about Postiz?
That's the big question.
It is
What strikes me is how Postiz represents a shift
a shift.
in the social media management landscape.
Okay.
It's not just another tool.
Right.
It's a platform that empowers
Okay.
individuals and smaller teams
To do what?
to take control of their social media presence.
In a way that wasn't possible before.
Well, in a way that was only really accessible
Okay.
to larger companies with bigger budgets.
So it's like leveling the playing field,
That's a good way to put it.
giving startups and solo devs the tools they need
To compete.
with the big players.
Ex-
And for software engineers specifically,
Yeah,
Postiz offers something unique.
I agree.
It's the ability to not just use a sophisticated tool,
Right.
but to understand how it works.
At a fundamental level.
We talked about the modern tech stack,
Uh-huh.
the open source nature.
It's all there for you to see.
And I think that's a huge draw for our technical audience.
Absolutely.
It's like getting a peek behind the curtain,
Love that analogy.
seeing how a real-world web application is built.
And how it runs.
It's a fantastic learning opportunity.
Couldn't agree more.
You can dive into the code,
See how the different parts work together.
even contribute to the project.
If you want.
That's the beauty of open source.
Transparency and collaboration at its finest,
It's about fostering a community.
where everyone can learn and grow.
So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought.
A thought to ponder.
Could Postiz be a game changer
Ooh, I like that.
for how startups and indie devs approach social media?
It could be.
Could it be the tool that helps them break through the noise?
And achieve their goals.
That's the question.
The question we all need to ask.
We've seen the potential.
Explored the features.
Now it's up to you, our listeners.
To take that next step.
Dive into the documentation.
Experiment with Postiz.
See how it fits into your workflow.
It's time to get your hands dirty.
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And your experiences
All the links and resources you need.
are in the show notes.
So keep on diving, everyone.
Until next time.